First thing first, we got Pac-12 no more. Somebody was upset we didn't talk about Pac-12 last week, so here you are, guys. Here's your gift, if that one person's in here. There has been discussions that teams like Arizona State, Arizona, Colorado has been in big discussions on the possibility of moving to the Big 12. Gonzaga, which is not a football school, but a basketball school, is talking about moving to the Big 12. The Big 12 is a pretty healthy basketball school. You got Houston's great at basketball. Baylor's good at basketball. Gonzaga, if they add, are great at basketball. Arizona is really good at basketball, right? They're a reputable blue-chip basketball team. So you add that. They may not add that strength to the football schedule, but they will be a contender for the basketball, which will be able to carry the weight that lacks in football, which it may end up translating later on. So, again, these teams are obviously getting better and better at football, but this could be the end of the Pac-12 here. Probably it could be this summer. I think Colorado, and Steve, I'm not taking credit. Steve reminded me of this. Colorado was a part of the Big 12 prior moving to the Pac-12. So this isn't new territory for them. One. Two, by them going to, like, they're at the point now where it's, if you're their stock, you got to buy the news. So they're at the highest point they're going to be. So if you're Colorado, you know that I got to go and get as much as I can right now because we're at our highest value. They could get more, right? But it's like Anthony going into the draft. You don't know what's on the other side of the wall. So take what you got when you can get it. And I think that's where Colorado and the schools like Arizona and Gonzaga is like, look, we've got an opportunity to jump before whatever ship sinks. Pac-12 sinking it seems to be like it's inevitable. Just depends on how long and when now. Steve, sorry I cut you off. I kind of took your thunder there, but go ahead.
No. Well, we were talking about it a little bit off cast, right? I mean, this wouldn't be uncharted territory for Colorado. What's interesting to me about this dynamic, right, is that the Big 12 had two marquee teams, right? The two big teams for the Big 12 were Oklahoma and Texas. Clearly, they've moved on and they're going to the SEC. There are two big teams, essentially, for the Pac-12, which have historically been UCLA and USC. They are leaving to go to the Big Ten. What's interesting is both of those conferences had their flagship teams leave for another conference. And they were both kind of hanging in the balance on which conference were just how they were going to handle that type of a loss. Mm-hmm. And it looks like even though at first it felt like the Big 12 was teetering, they weren't going to be able to handle this. They were losing potential opportunities on getting their product on any type of a platform, media-wise, streaming, things like that. It looks like as time has gone on, the commissioner of the Big 12 has been able to stabilize and right the ship of the Big 12 better than what the Pac-12 has been able to do in that same scenario, because you're not really hearing about teams potentially bailing from the Big 12 now. What you're hearing is how the Big 12 is going to replace those flagship teams and what they can do in order to offset those losses. Whereas the Pac-12, you're hearing more about the potential exodus that could come in and how they may not be able to sustain themselves as a conference at all moving forward. So it's interesting to see how quickly the same scenario in two conferences and that dynamic kind of changed rapidly.
See, speaking bars out there, boys. Yeah, I think the Big 12 reacted much better than the Pac-12 did. They added UCF and one more fairly quickly after the departure of Oklahoma. And UCF is on the up and up. So it was a great addition for them to add UCF. That wasn't like a cupcake ad. That was UCF is becoming a real contender. And I think that was great for UCF to be able to go into a Power 5 and really show that, hey, we're a real threat. I think it's showing in their recruiting. I think they're doing a great job. So shout out to them. My little brother's a big fan of them. So good to see that they're doing well. But yeah, I think you nailed it on the head, Steve, where the Big 12 reacted much quicker than the Pac-12. And if you would have said, hey, who do you think is going to react? I would have said the Pac-12. I've always felt the Pac-12. But again, overall, the Big 12 is a much healthier brand in other sports. And I kind of forgot about that. Basketball, I mean, Pac-12 is not horrible, but the Big 12 has always had kind of reign supreme with other sports, in my opinion. I think there's a few that come from the Pac-12, but overall, Big 12 is a little bit healthier.
Yeah, I mean, agreed. Well, I think we talked about it with the geographical location too. Like people just don't see it enough.
Well, Big 12 too, with this addition, if they add these guys, will be the only conference that has a team in all time zones. So kind of just a big blending pot. Yeah, Dave, sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, y'all pretty much made the points that I was probably going to talk about too.
Sorry.
So I was just
All
saying,
right.
y'all make good points, and it sucks that it kind of affects like basketball and all other sports too. So it's like you're having to figure everything out.
There's a lot of moving pieces that we just think selfishly at football. Yeah.